Welcome, everybody. This is the August Commission meeting of the Oregon Liquor and Cannabis Commission agenda. And please take the roll.
Commissioner Curran? Here. Commissioner Floyd? Here. Commissioner Harper?
Here.
Commissioner Miletus?
Here.
Commissioner Revel?
Here.
Chair Rosenbaum?
Here. Welcome, everybody. Just to mention for those people who are looking on, and this is the August informal meeting. So we can dress the way we want for the August meeting rather than put a suit and tie on. Or I should be a dress or a skirt or whatever, normal stuff that women wear. We're in one of these moods today, huh?
Well, I think we're just so happy.
It's just nice to be back in the room and try to do some normal stuff. We're going to start with the warehouse update. Chris, nice to see you in the room. Thank you.
Good morning, Chairman. Good morning, Commissioners. Good to see you too.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So I am here today. Let me start. For the record, my name is Chris Maiden. I'm the Distilled Spirits Program Director for the OLCC. I'm here today to give you a monthly update on the warehouse relocation and headquarter relocation. This will be the briefest update I've given you yet. Nothing has changed since my last update. We are still out with the RFPs for the 4 locations, which are still kept confidential until a contract is signed. Those RFPs will end on August 29th, so just here in about a week and a half. Once they close, negotiations will begin for the site, and then that information will become public. So that's something that you decide. Other than that, we're just kind of in status quo, waiting for the 29th to come so we can start to vet that process and share those locations with you. Any other questions?
Commissioners, any questions at all? So you're happy with the process so far?
So far, I wish it would speed up because the warehouse is getting fuller and fuller, but Nikki and her team are keeping cases moving without services being compromised at all, and Brian and his team are keeping retail expansion going, so everything's on the business side's moving.
So I know it's depending on the month, but what's the capacity right now?
98%.
So we're really pushing it.
We're at the seams.
And we'll go over that over Christmas time or
in 2 months. In October, we're going to swell past the seams. So we'll be on the floor in the aisles. But they're well seasoned with this. This has been happening for the last couple of years. We shipped over 1 million cases in the second, just under 1 million cases in the second quarter. Biggest month we've had, or biggest quarter we've had in history.
So that's what they call high-class problems. The anticipated date for opening in the new facility is?
Currently, it would be summer of 2024. Summer of 2024. Okay. So a couple of years out.
Well, that's right around the corner.
We could do the building in a year and a half. It's the IT state process is through stage gate, as Christy Scott has told you many times. That's the modernization of our IT infrastructure. That's going to help with the warehouse management system. It's going to help with transparency at the retail stores for our consumers here in Oregon. It'll just be a more transparent operation altogether. So it will be a first-class Oregon, electronic organization then.
One last question: is there a shortage of laborers now in terms of putting this thing together? I mean, how bad is that?
I think just in my experience with warehousing, in warehousing itself, we have labor shortages, but in the construction environment that we're in right now, it's even more harsh. It's hard to get materials, it's hard to get workforce, and everything's has delays. And that's why we're hoping to hire the best developer that we have in the state that can navigate the waters in which we're dealing with today.
Yeah, the materials are a huge problem. Okay, no other questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We have the compliance. Let's take the alcohol first. And how we're going to do Andy,
Hi there. Yes, I'm making it in today last minute, so I am going to fill in. Good morning, Chairman Rosenbaum and Commissioners. For the record, my name is Kelly Rapp. I am the Director of the Administrative Hearings Division. And first up, we do have 2 liquor settlements that we are recommending for verification, and I'm happy to answer any questions on those.
Anybody have any questions?
Chair,
Commissioner Hopper?
can you just go over the synopsis for Teapot Inc., please?
I'm sorry?
Go over Teapot Inc.
Oh, Teapot Inc.
Yes.
Yes, so this was back in 2019, October, November 2019, over the span of a couple months, there were some private parties that were being held in the back room for after hours where a lot of unlawful activity and self-service was occurring. And so that came to our attention via some complaints. And so we went out and investigated, and then those had since stopped. The inspector didn't observe any more violations. So we are taking action against the things that happened over that 2-month period. And since then, they've minimized their premises to eliminate that room where the private parties were occurring.
Is it normal for some of these locations to have a back room where they can have a separate number of people come in and have these separate parties from the initial bar during during the time where we had the initial lockdown of the bars, right?
Commissioner Harper, this occurred back in October and November of 2019, so this was pre-pandemic. And every bar and restaurant is different. Lots of restaurants have sort of banquet areas. It sounds like it was just a back room where they were sort of renting out some parties where some illegal activity was occurring.
So it says on number 7, licensee may offset the number of days it was prohibited from exercising its on-premise license privileges pursuant to the governor's Executive Order 27, or any successor that extends that order against the suspension referenced in paragraph 6. Explain that.
Correct.
I noticed 2, and if you said it was not during the governor's executive order, I'm trying to figure out why that's in there.
Sure, Chairman Rosenbaum, Commissioner Harper. So for violations that occurred prior to the pandemic, for the penalty, since after that happened, they've been, they were unable to operate for, many months. We are basically giving them credit for time served. So because they were essentially suspended for many times, we're allowing them to say, you've already served your suspension. So for violations that occurred pre-pandemic.
Okay, so we will, as a commission, see this number 7 on an initial compliance orders in the future then.
Correct, Commissioner Harper, we have actually put forward some settlements prior to this that had that language, and we are offering that only for violations that occurred pre-pandemic, and we're nearing the end of those violations. So after that, we will go back to normal.
Okay, so in explanation of that, so pre-pandemic, if you have a compliance issue and coming forward today, we're going to minus the number of days in regards to the penalty. So then I won't have to feel obligated when I see a $7,755 civil penalty. I will expect those penalties will be lower in the future for as soon as we get through this age where we're going to go past.
I think I understand what you're saying. And yeah, so for any future violations where the violation occurred pre-pandemic, they have the option of just taking the suspension that they've already served. But for violations that occurred after the shutdown, we will be conducting business as usual. And if there are penalties, they will need to pay the civil penalty or serve the suspension.
All right, so Chair, so when the governor's executive order was settled, and bars could not open or locations could not open, we're considering that time with the term suspension.
Correct, because they were not allowed to serve any on-site alcohol.
Thank you, Chair.
Any other questions? Before we vote on this, it's I think a good opportunity. 3 of these 4 cases, I have nothing on the cases. 3 of the 4 cases, it says, to me, it goes right along. And where is Steve? I mean, these comments are directed to you, Steve, more than anybody else. 3 of these 4 cases, in my opinion, these people obviously have a problem running a business and need more education. I suggested we might be looking at a minimum oversight before licensing somewhere in the future and have a discussion with the committee members, the commission members. I suggested a subcommittee of the commissioners that maybe would have a licensee with a bad compliance record go before them before they continue their business. These are just good business practices. I mean, these cases, we've come to the conclusion, I'm not going to argue with this anymore. They just really are not understanding how to run a business correctly. And I think this commission needs to do something about it. So, and I commend Steve. You indicated to us that we're going to have a discussion on this somewhere in the near future, and I look forward to that. So I just wanted to reiterate that we need to do something about these type of cases. We want to keep them in business. We want them to make money, but we also have an obligation to help them. That's my comment. So.
Chair, I have a question. I agree. I think we are quite generous with some of these. I did notice on the alcohol stipulated settlement, Kelly, both of these have restrictions now to the license, correct? One of the, actually in both of them, the restrictions limited the amount of wine to 6 ounces, right? However, despite the requirement, a single customer may possess a full bottle of wine, so 750 milliliters of wine, right, or champagne. And so my question is, to me, that doesn't really make sense, and it just kind of sets itself up, kind of tees up maybe a trivial violation down the road. Why is that? Why do we have that limitation of 6 ounces? Where is it at? 6 ounces of wine, but a patron may possess one bottle containing no more than 750 milliliters of wine.
Commissioner Floyd, so these are, standard restriction terms that we've had in place for many years. And I think this provides clear instruction to the licensee that when they are pouring the wine into a container, a glass, that it shouldn't exceed 6 ounces. So they can't serve, glasses of wine that contain, 12 or 15 ounces. But if, a person's at a table, and they want to order a bottle of wine, they can, and then, continue to pour from that bottle. And also they may not actually consume that entire bottle. And if it's being served with a meal, they can take that container home with them,
right?
Per the statute. So I think that's sort of the differentiation, that we're not, the container side, when it's served, the alcohol in the actual glass or container can't exceed 6 ounces. But if a person wants to order a bottle of wine, they can, but they can't. And so there's just to accommodate sometimes that people do want to enjoy wine with a meal.
Right. No, and I was trying to play that through my head, how, I was thinking, okay, yeah, maybe, because you can cork it and take that bottle home with you. But it just seems like it would tee itself up for a silly violation down the road if, say somebody got poured a 10-ounce glass of wine. That's a violation, but yet they can have a full bottle of wine. So it just seems kind of,
Right.
But that's it. Thank you.
So Steve, are you going to set that up sometime in the future?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Okay, clerk will take the roll. Laura, take the roll. I hate saying clerk.
Okay, quick motion.
I move to ratify the 2 stipulated settlements. This is for alcohol, as proposed by staff.
Commissioner Kern?
Yes.
Commissioner Floyd?
Yes.
Commissioner Harper?
Yes.
Commissioner Miletus?
Yes.
Commissioner Revel?
Yes.
Chair Rosenbaum?
Yes.
And then we have 2 marijuana settlements that we are recommending for ratification. And I would like to note for the record that in the matter of Sunbreeze Inc., doing this as Sunny Acres, I just, this morning, we noticed an error in the penalty due dates. The civil penalty should be due in September, not August. And if the licensee does choose the suspension instead, that would also be served starting in September. I just want to make that clear for the record that the payment is not overdue as of today.
Any discussion? Laura, please.
Chair,
Oh, I need a motion.
I move to ratify the 2 marijuana stipulated settlement agreements as proposed by staff.
Commissioner Kern?
Yes.
Commissioner Floyd?
Yes.
Commissioner Harper?
Yes.
Commissioner Miletus?
Yes.
Commissioner Eval?
Yes.
Chair Rosenbaum?
Yes,
Thank you very much, Commissioner.
that was easy enough.
Thank you, Kelly.
Well, we're up to the superstar, Brian. You're up.
Morning, Chair Rosenbaum, Commissioners. For the record, Brian Fleming. I'm at home today because I have a terrible head.
Speak up just a little louder. I don't think it's coming through.
How about that? Is that better?
A little bit.
Okay, I'll try and get up to it. Chair Rosenbaum, Commissioners, Brian Fleming for the record. I'm at home today because I have a terrible head cold, and in the spirit of keeping everyone safe, I elected to do this virtually. Standard renewals here today. What I have before you is 28 retail sales agent agreements approaching expiration. This is as part of our normal process for reappointment. We have 16 agents that have met the conditions of a 5-year agreement. And then there are 12 agents who will get a 10-year agreement. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Commissioners? No, see, we take your word for it.
Chair.
Commissioner Harper.
Brian and the licensees that are being reported, I just want to say congratulations on a great time and great job, especially not only during this COVID period, but also during the number of years they've already been with this, in the commission and within the state. I personally know a number of the agents, and I'm just proud to say I'm glad to be part of their team. So congratulations to all of them, and it's just an honor to go forward with this motion for approval. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner. And Brian, we don't give you enough credit. You do a great job, and we all appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Harper, you're always too kind to me.
I want the motor home.
Well, I need a motion.
Chair,
Commissioner?
I move to approve the 28 contract renewals as listed in the commission materials.
Commissioner Kern?
Yes.
Commissioner Floyd?
Yes.
Commissioner Harper?
Yes.
Commissioner Miletus?
Yes.
Commissioner Eval?
Yes.
Chair Rosenbaum?
Yes. These are the type of meetings we like, right?
We don't.
You don't
Chair Rosenbaum, Commissioners, I promise you, I will be there in September.
August more often. Thank you, Brian. I appreciate it. Steve, you're up.
You want to get your normal?
No, you can sit there and let him put him on the hot seat.
For the record, Steve Marks, Executive Director, OLCC. Nice to see you commissioners here. Sorry I was late. The Wheatland Ferry, I was unaware, was completely under construction when I got there, so I had to go around the long way. So things are moving ahead well at the commission. You know, we're implementing the budget, moving forward with warehouse planning, the new licensing system, the warehouse operational system, implementing the privilege tax. We have been working hard with the brewers to get them satisfied on the data they need to enter and our needs to be able to certify tax collections for the privilege tax. Wineries are up next in September. We're going to take a little more time on our entry to that to make sure that we are working with our partners and they're well aware of the system and its limitations and its needs. Ironically, as you know, most of them have to go through all that filing annually just to get the exemption from the tax. Southern Oregon is the big operation going on. We are doing the tested presumptive tests for ODA for the hemp program. I will share with you my high level, I think, results to date, some of the challenges we still face in implementing that. A lot of 50% is roughly testing on our presumptive marijuana test as marijuana for the way we test on, do the presumptive tests. There's about another 30% for some reason that we've either been denied access or can't get a hold of them. In those cases, we have to issue administrative warrants to go back on the property and to conduct the test. ODA issued their first administrative warrant day before yesterday. I was down there. I actually went on site while ODA and our folks and Oregon State Police accompanying them conducted the operation. I know our presumptive tests were presumptive. I don't know exactly what the 51 totes of bud were tested as, but I'm assuming that's going to test as marijuana, but I have not got those results from the state, the county investigation that followed up on our work there. So it was referred as a case to law enforcement. We have several of those warrants to get written to conclude operations in Southern Oregon. We are going to down ramp our workforce there on September 3rd, but we'll still have the regional folks to be able to carry out any trailing testing that we need to do through the month of September. So we're looking forward to seeing those results, bringing them forward. I think legislators are very interested in those results. I know we are, and Rosie's been working with the legislative committees to make sure that we have the opportunity to talk about them with ODA and our partners during the legislative days in September. So with that, I'll conclude that, is to say it's an incredible operation. Rich Evans and the staff are running down there. It's unbelievable. I wish you could all go down and see it. Quite the professional operation. And then, Mr. Chairman, yes, we will follow up on the education licensing, what we do with folks that don't get the idea of business practices they should be employing as our licensees. And Jason Hansen, I saw him up on the screen earlier, and Kelly and others will be happy to do the educational briefing for the commission to figure out how we approach that issue. But that'll conclude my testimony. Any questions for me?
What, we're gonna do that after one of the commission meetings, is that?
Yeah, I think we'll either in person or online, sir. We'll make sure we do that informal briefing of you that we've done in the past, when we've had topics that you want to delve into. So we'll set up that, take what time is needed, an hour and a half to go through.
Any of the commissioners have any questions? Commissioner Rubel?
Steve, is it possible to send out a notice to our licensees that the grace periods and the understanding that they may perceive that they're getting right now because of their inability to operate their business properly, we're giving them ways of having to serve a suspension, that time period is going to end. And the reason why I say that is that on some of the cases that came today, I would have wanted their license canceled. Particularly the activity that was going on in the bar in the back room. And we have a situation in Cottage Grove where it is continuous bad acts, has a history of it, and here they are again. I feel like it's the the license that we took away at the University of Oregon after 40 years of bad acts. And it took 40 years because I was a rookie cop 40 years ago, and they were doing the same dumb things then. So I don't want to be in a situation where we hammer somebody or they perceive they're being hammered. And I said, well, you gave Marvin a break in August. Why don't I get the break? So I guess I would like the world to know that pretty soon the breaks are going to end. And that's the way it's going to go. Because otherwise I would ask for something far more punishable than a suspension in those two cases. So I don't know if we can send our information out to people to know that things are going to change. Then you'll have people, with their lips hung out saying, oh, why are you so mean to me?
That was very well put. Thank you.
Yeah, Chair. I totally believe that the owners of these premises did not know. And the ones in the future, maybe next month, will not know that this ruling exists. In my research, I didn't see this language, and I listened to Kelly, and I didn't see the language in regards to a reprieve based upon the executive order of the governor. So I don't know if we can come up with a notice. I think this is a situation that we probably have to ride out. But there are a lot of businesses out there that are struggling. I don't see this as bad business practices. I see this as people making money. And I know I hear us as commissioners to say that this is bad practice, and it is illegal, and should not, and will not be tolerated on our books. But there are a lot of offices, a lot of bars, a lot of businesses that do have back rooms. Eastern Oregon, Southern Oregon, even right here in the city of Portland, there are bars that have back doors that each of us probably, and I know I have, received calls, and they stated, hey, can I bring this wedding party back here during this COVID period? And it says, fire department says we can get 100 people back here, and we can do a quarter of the people. That means we can get 25. We don't have to contact the OLCC. If we got a little breakout, they can go out in the backyard. It's fenced off because we got a deck. This is just, I think this will be considered just miscommunication. It's not considered, personally, for me, bad business. They're making money. But in the sense, with the ensuing issues we have with COVID and the future problems we're going to have, this is going to go on. And I think the strong language should be what we can do for ancillary businesses off the initial front of a business, and consider, is this considered two areas? We had this issue in regards to decking. The initial deck that pushes them off street, off premises. We've approved decking off street, right on the street. Is that considered a part of the percentage of people that can have in their facility? We don't know. So it's true we need to keep an eye on these things. Some people are self-reporting, other people are getting snitched on. And I know our staff here that does compliance and enforcement have a huge job ahead of them. So I just want to continue to give them support. And when these issues come in front of the commission, I just want to share, it's not bad practices. They're making money, and it's more on the side of illegalities than anything else. So I don't know how much education you can give a business in this sense. So I look forward to our leadership, and I look forward to what we can do here. And I don't know, I wouldn't cancel any of these businesses. Except for the one that was put a fight on the outside.
And that's why I'm going to disagree with everything you just said.
Well, that's a good
You
thing.
roll up on a bar and there's 50 people fighting in the yard.
Yeah.
10 people, 2 people ongoing. When you're having drug activities in the back room, that's not bad business. That's illegal. That is not tolerable in this environment or any environment. And it's not just having a death party that is a wedding. This is dangerous. It continues to be dangerous. And these organizations can't be allowed to operate in our organization. Thank you.
Any other comments? Steve, did you want to say something on that?
I'll take a shot at it, if you want, Mr. Chairman. I do think, the best communication, the best tool we have when we want to be able to get the attention of our licensees is actually our own rules. I mean, that's what we apply against it. And so to the extent that we think the rules are inadequate to do that, because I think the entry to the system is you need to be educated on the rules of the system to be a licensee, and we expect that. Now, there's a lot of rules there. They're complicated. There's a lot of ways people get tripped up in the complexities of liquor law and rules, and that's why we have you here as the commission to call balls and strikes on that, and a system of progressive penalties against those. But to the extent that we have bad actors and we want to send that message that we're going to be clear on penalizing violence in violation of our rules, for sure. Sending that message is important. I will say this about general communication with licensees, as you know, on the alcohol side, we do not have all their emails, right? It's a difficult process with all of the different kinds of alcohol licensees to contact them. That is being remedied by our technology projects, which will greatly aid our communication, both for things where we want to communicate the serious nature and the way we're taking particular, egregious or views of egregious action, or preventative messages that we can get out to communities that are experiencing, episodic upswings and DUIs or otherwise. The tools that we'll have to be able to communicate with communities will be, I think, a vital feature of the way OLCC operates and regulates and works with communities about the concerns within them about our responsibility for responsible alcohol consumption and commerce within those communities.
Well, I've always said it's a privilege, not a right to have a license.
Yes, sir.
I mean, that's what it boils down to. I want to skip gears and ask you, as executive director of this agency, what keeps you up at night, if anything, about the implementation of the excise tax? What's your biggest concern?
It doesn't keep me up at night. Technology projects are complicated. They require change. That's part of the nature of them. And some people are better prepared and others less prepared to deal with those changes. I think we're in the right zone of the 80% of problem solving and people getting it and people being able to respond, maybe higher now. Moving forward, I think we will get there. But I do want to make sure that we work very hard with the communities that this system is supposed to serve so that it actually performs the functions efficiently for them and gives us the information we need. And to that extent, I have promised each grouping of different types of licenses that we collect privilege tax from and require reporting that, we'll be willing to make changes in the future. If we've missed the mark on how the built system is there and we can't get it done, we'll keep evolving it until we get it right. But there is a base assumption when you do the system that they're going to help organize that data and get it reported in an electronic way that makes sense. And some of them are going to have to change and modify their practices to transfer that data to us in the detail that's required.
So were those things that you thought about when the RFP was in existence, or I guess my question to you is, what is different or what has changed between your concept of what we were getting with the RFP and reality today?
I think it's really two different needs. Their need for ease in reporting and our need for the certainty that we can backtrack on our audit responsibilities when we collect the taxes. So in the past, in the paper system, our staff would array all of that information for auditing. Right now, we're trying to convert that into an electronic system. some of our users on the other side haven't presented it electronic that way to us. So that's the change, and I think the rub and the benefit of the system is that we're trying to get that information put there. We're one of the first in the country that is trying to go to an electronic system of privilege taxes reporting. There's a lot that have electronic systems, but it's really a paper process on the back end. And I'm going to be depending on when a travel ban comes into place at NCSLA, the National Administrators Conference, talking about this. TTB's on the panel. I know TTB is interested now in more detailed electronic reporting. So, in some ways, what Oregon's doing is going to be, I think, a forerunner for the future considerations of other agencies and the federal government as they look at what they want reported in the detail within it. One of the irony is, we just simplified Oregon's privilege tax system, right? We aligned with the federal beer and wine categories. That's going to make it much easier for all of our licensees to comply by category, by product type. So great efficiency in doing that, but and some of that efficiency, those federal categories really do blend up what the products actually are. We'll see where that goes. I think we're, our system is going to be successful for us. I believe in our functions of overseeing tax collections. I think that we're going to definitely produce, and I think we're going to work every day to minimize the efficiency. So nothing's keeping me awake, but we know we got work to do with our partners.
So let me try to understand this just for my own edification. No change order in the system is necessary. It's just an educational process to our vendors to fill out the forms correctly, or does there need to be a substantial or change in the system to accommodate our customers' opportunity to fulfill what we need?
I'd say 95% of it is education. 5%.
So the system is already there, the way that we built it in. It's education for our customers, and the other 5% is what?
Well, I'll give you a simple, for instance, numbers on Mac, the program numbers. We're having trouble translating those files through the system. So right now, if you are working on a Mac on numbers, we're sending that file to the staff, and the staff is translating the file here for use inside the system. So we're doing the work to get the conversion in place. The SICPA is working on that issue for compatibility.
Okay. I'm done. Any other questions?
Chair.
Commissioner?
I'm always excited about the bottle bill and getting ready for this new order coming forward from the governor or from us in regards to the collection of our bottles and cans. I just want to say in advance, the staff involved with that, please keep up the good work. This is the first time that I literally take my cans to this location where you have cans in this green bag, I feel like a Jolly Green Giant. And they do a fantastic job. So thank you so much. I have a little account. I got $36 worth of cans already. So congratulations to them. And I hope each one of our facilities that will continue to collect cans stay on top, so we continually give them encouragement to keep working, because it's understandable that these businesses as large as Walmart and as small as a local store potentially will not be able to accept cans within the next, if this Delta variant continues the way it is.
Our staff does, Commissioner, a wonderful job. And Becky Volkel's been at it there for a long time. She works fabulously with our partners and appreciate, the evolution. There's a discussion about, wine bottles coming into the system or not. I don't know where that's going. It's more on the legislative front with OBRC and our partners and the manufacturers and all this, but we're certainly a part of that discussion in terms of helping to implement it, and we're going to continue to do our part.
I agree with Commissioner Hopper, but I can't get the stickers through the kiosk. They won't work for me. But they do a good job. I have no complaints. Do we, I think that's, well, thank you very much, everybody. And, Rosie, thank you again for a very good job done this year. We appreciate it. It has not gone unnoticed, believe me. And Nathan and Kelly, thank you so much for all the times that you're available to us for all the stupid questions we ask. Adjourned.